to take comments. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to turn the podium over to Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder. You need to know that during his impressive career, General Holder has served in private practice as U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia, as an Associate Judge of the Superior Court of the District of Columbia, and as Deputy Attorney General. He's worked to investigate and prosecute official corruption on the local, state, and federal level, and he is fully invested in strong enforcement of our nation's antitrust laws to advance the interests of justice on behalf of the American people. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Attorney General. General?
Thank you. Well, thank you, and good morning. Good morning, folks. Hey, it's Colorado, you know. I'm out of D.C. You'll be happy about this. Thank you very much, Secretary Vilsack, and also thank you to the folks at Colorado State for helping us put this together. This is a very important workshop. And I want to thank all of you for joining us and welcoming us this morning. I think it's very fitting that we're gathered here today in the Centennial State, because as much as today's discussion is about cattle, hog, and other livestock industry issues, it's also about our nation's founding ideals, about fairness and about equal opportunity. And above all, it's about better understanding and addressing the challenges that all of you face. Now, for some of you, these challenges have never felt more urgent or more difficult to overcome. And I realize this. So does Secretary Vilsack, and so does the President. Our nation is now the world's largest producer of beef, and the third largest producer of pork and pork products. And here in Colorado, the livestock industry is an economic anchor. We know that your communities and counties are, in large part, ag dependent. Now, in this state alone, more than 100,000 jobs rely on the agriculture and food industries. And more than 4 in 5 farms and ranches are family or individually owned. We also know that although beef exports have been rising since the early 1990s, too many farmers and ranchers are fighting tooth and nail simply to make a living. This is a very, very serious issue. And it's a problem that we can only solve by coming together, to listen, to learn, to share, and to seek out solutions. And that's why we're here today. The discussion we have gathered to begin reflects an historic partnership between the Department of Justice, the Department of Agriculture, and leaders from across our nation's agricultural industry. It's a partnership forged not only so that we can better understand the conditions that you face every day, though that's a first and crucial part of this effort, but also, and most important, so that we can act. As Secretary Vilsack mentioned, we kicked off this workshop series nearly 6 months ago, and so far have explored competition issues in seed, pork, poultry, and dairy industries. Today, of course, we are here in Fort Collins to learn about competition and regulatory issues facing cattle, hog, and other livestock industry sectors. And we've made these workshops a cabinet-level priority so that we can most effectively and efficiently determine how to ensure a fairer, more competitive marketplace for all of you. Now, we already know that for many producers, consolidation in the meatpacking industry is a top concern, a primary concern. And I want you all to know that the Justice Department is committed to fulfilling its responsibility to take appropriate enforcement action when a merger or other activity threatens to erode competition. For example, when JBS proposed to acquire the National Beef Packing Company, the Justice Department challenged the transaction on the grounds that it would have reduced competition among packers in the sale of boxed beef and for the purchase of feed cattle. As a result of that lawsuit, the parties abandoned the transaction last year. This was an important step, but we realized that it was only a small step. We would like to hear any lingering concerns. We would like to know what more we can do. We're also eager to discuss the fact that today many producers and consumers are unsure whether they're getting a fair shake. Farmers have noticed discrepancies between prices at the grocery store and prices paid to producers for their livestock or for their crops. Secretary Vilsack and I are devoting our next workshop on this very issue in December in Washington, D.C., but we're very eager to air out these concerns today as well. You know, we realize that many of you are concerned more generally about market concentration. Now, let me assure each of you that administration leaders across and beyond USDA and DOJ understand that having a fair and competitive agricultural marketplace is critical for producers and for consumers alike. At the Justice Department, vigorously and appropriately enforcing our antitrust laws is an essential part of our core mission. Today, it's also a top priority, and that's why the Assistant Attorney General for the Antitrust Division is sitting to my right, Christine Varney. Now, that said, none of us believes that antitrust enforcement is the solution to every problem, but it is a solution, and it is a part of our larger government-wide commitment to championing the pro-consumer principles that will promote competition in the agricultural sector. Now, it is with these principles in mind that Secretary Vilsack and I are eager to begin today's discussion. Whether you're here to share your concerns over concentration or consolidation, pricing, or the Packers and Stockyards Act, we are here to listen. And I want to emphasize that. We are here to listen. Not only do we welcome your insights and your recommendations, we are relying on them. If passed as prologue, your suggestions will be many, and they will be extremely valuable. After our call for your ideas last year, we received thousands, literally thousands of comments. Already your input has been critical in guiding and in focusing our work. That tremendous response only represents a fraction of the potential that I know still exists for building on this extraordinary example of government and public engagement at its best. Now, ultimately, our conversation is about much more than simply last year's trends or this year's challenges. It is about your livelihoods. It is about your families. It is about this region's economy and our centuries-old American way of life. This is essentially about our nation. Your participation this morning gives me great hope about what we can and will accomplish together in the days and weeks ahead. Secretary Vilsack and I look forward to hearing from and working with each and every one of you. Thank you.
General, thank you very much.